Wolf Trap Opera's production of John Musto and Mark Campbell's Bastianello took place at the Barns at Wolf Trap in August 2017. When the Barns isn't home to our opera company or hosting touring concerts during the winter season, it is occasionally called into service as a wedding venue. There are beautiful weddings put on at our theater, and when our director and designer came for their site visit, they were inspired by the idea of outfitting the theater as if the patrons for Bastianello had come to a wedding. And indeed, when folks arrived at the theater, that's the first thing they saw, with a festive array of lights up in the rafters. And the actors were actually on stage about a half an hour before the opera started, giving us a little bit of a glimpse into their backstory before they began to sing at curtain time. The team of John Musto and Mark Campbell is well known to Wolf Trap audiences, as they have written 2 operas for Wolf Trap. Volpone premiered in 2004. It came back again during the summer season in 2007 and won us a Grammy nomination for live recording. And then several years later, The Inspector premiered at the Barns in 2011. The creative team behind this particular production is Lydia Yankovskaya in the pit with the orchestra, and R.B. Schlather as stage director. R.B. brought with him Blake Palmer, scenic and costume designer for this production, and Bob Grimes was our house lighting designer. The premiere of Bastianello actually took place in New York in an organization with whom we have very close ties, the New York Festival of Song. NYFOS's Steve Blyer is part of the Wolf Trap Opera season every summer. And the NYFOS premiere was at Carnegie Hall in 2008, and it was a staged concert. Here's a picture from the concert. It actually featured a couple of Wolf Trap Opera alumni in that premiere cast, Matt Bowler in the center there and Sasha Cook on the right. The piece was originally written for 2 pianos, but it was subsequently orchestrated, and that is the version that we used in our production. The story comes from a popular Italian folk tale, here written down by Thomas Crane in his collection of Italian popular tales, but existing in many different places in many different forms. And Mark Campbell, the librettist, zeroed in on one particular version of this tale that includes a very pivotal scene in the opera that happens at a lake that isn't present in all the versions of the tale. The Commedia dell'arte became also very important to us in staging this piece. The characters in this, many of them are drawn from Commedia. Their situation comedy is very, very familiar to us from opera plots and sitcoms. And in this case, it also was a link to the way they were rehearsed and prepared in a very improvisatory way. The piece has as its center 3 scenes that are actually acted out by the main characters, but they are playing different characters. They're like little scenes within the scene. The piece reminds me actually in storyline a bit of Candide, in the sense that our hero sets out on a journey to find something, and there are other people and other places that he encounters along the way. In this production, though, the 5 singers who were playing the main roles actually also don different costumes and props and actually play out the internal scenes. And there's a lot of improvisation in the way we staged this piece, and that I feel kept it very close to its origins in the commedia and also in the folk tale tradition with its ever-changing scenarios. So here's a little look at the Bastianello family. We have the groom and the bride on the left. Then we have the father of the bride next to his daughter, and the mother of the groom on the outside right. The 5th character we are introduced to at the beginning of the opera as the narrator. The groom's name is Luciano. He is sung in our production by bass baritone Richard Oyarzaba. The bride is sung by mezzo-soprano Zoe Reams. The father of the bride is baritone Shay Owens. And the mother of the groom is soprano Summer Hassan. The narrator, who actually morphs into a different character later on, completing the story, is sung by tenor Jonas Hacker. A couple of quotes from the premiere program. On the surface, Bastianello is an opera about marriage. Every episode shows us different stages of married life, mostly in tatters. But it also shows that a successful marriage often begins with the understanding that one's partner is human and fallible. And indeed, that's pretty much the essence of what Luciano learns on his journeys in this very entertaining and actually heartwarming comic opera. If you're listening to this between March and September 2018, you'll be able to see this production online at wolftrap.org/streaming, a complete video of the whole production. If you're joining us at a different time, you should still be able to go there and see one of our operas from a previous season, as they are in a 6-month rotation at that address. This is Kim Whitman signing off for Wolf Trap Opera. Thank you so much for joining me.